I am an accountant for a petrochemical firm stuck in a city under siege in the Middle East. My name is Jason Falkland, and this is Siege Radio. I am royally fucked. The resistance confirmed today that the city is not getting any food. There's too many RAS personnel for the governments to confirm a safe passage for the humanitarian aid. This is probably the worst news I've gotten since my stay here. I didn't have much hope to cling to begin with. I had this faith that there would be a UN intervention and I'd be flown out of here, and then I'd be home with my wife. And then once I was there, I could just pretend that all this was just a really bad dream. It's not gonna happen now. No, it won't happen. I'm stuck here. The best I can do at this stage is just wait long enough before I eventually get killed. I can't fathom being publicly executed. And knowing that the RAS, I bet they'd stream that live. I just hope Catherine doesn't see any of that. This little piece of news came to me a day after last week's transmission. The resistance offered up the last of their food with an oh so generous 1,000% markup. And even then, I had to fight to get some. At this point, I've got about a week's worth of food hidden away within that hole in the wall. I'm planning to skip an alternate day of food now, but even then, I've got 2 weeks. Max. I really desperately need something to read. I've not read a newspaper or a novel since the war started. And of course, the only ones here, they're in Urdu, and so I can't understand it. I wonder... It's worth a try, I guess. I'm gonna try passing on some money to one of the resistance checkers. Maybe I'll get an English newspaper. Something. Anything. Here's a question for you. How would it feel to go fight a war that had absolutely nothing to do with you? Garrickson was having that feeling. And whether it could deal with it or not, well, it didn't really matter if they could deal with it or not. Nobody cared. They were going to war. No questions asked. I mean, after all, they were just some little colony. It was whatever the masters ordered, the country had to do. They couldn't help it. Men and women of Gerikston were committed to fight the war, and any eligible person not joining, they were simply shot. Remember that these guys were fighting for the Allies, the side that was fighting for freedom over oppression. Keep that in mind. Now, back in World War II, the Allies had a system of air raid alarms. These were put in place for people to be able to hide or get underground. You know, whatever you could do at the given time. Now this was done to, obviously, prevent a loss of life from an uninformed impending air raid. Now these were just sirens. They just used local sounds to feed the country information. Well, as luck would have it, Gerikston didn't receive any of it. Nope, not a bit. Countless more lives were lost in these raids than they ever needed to. While studying about this in college, I had later found out in my reading that there was only one raid alarm in Gerikston. That one was away from the main city and in the airfields. Oh my, we wouldn't want our precious oil getting hurt now, would we? That'd be so awful. Are we any different from the evils of the Nazis? The men and women who lost their lives here, children who went to bed that night without a meal while hearing bombs scorching their beloved Earth, all of that didn't matter to anyone. Sadly, the war fought here is mostly forgotten. The lands received no compensation for their damaged infrastructure. No bravery medals or congratulations were handed to the soldiers who fought a war that didn't have a stake in. Oh, but of course, it gets worse. It always does. An Allied victory without Geriksteni oil would have been very, very difficult. Speaking of oil, the drilling stations were increasing exponentially. A lot more oil was being pulled up now. I mean, European war machine, they demanded it. And anybody against it, they'd receive a swift bullet right through the temple. Well, all was said and done. Gerikston, they gained absolutely nothing. And they lost everything here. In this war that wasn't even theirs to fight in the first place. With the war ended, yet another bloody chapter of Gerikston would reveal itself. The one on a suicidal blaze to attain freedom. The end of the Second World War would lead to the creation of factions and leaders who wanted these invaders off their land. The way this concluded, frankly, I feel like a terrorist. Me! So yeah, get this. The soldier I gave money to get me a book, he denies it now. Because of course he would. Nothing to read. God damn it. The gunfire outside is getting louder by the day. In fact, I'm starting to hear screams from the front lines. Those screams keep continually being pushed back by the RAS. They've also started beheading every outsider they get. They wouldn't look at me very kindly. Let's see. I'm a foreigner, not of their radical faith. Yeah, and I'm a petrochemical company employee. How's that saying go? Something like, good things come in threes? Not in my case. No, just one of those is enough to behead a person live on the internet. I hope Catherine's alright. Catherine, if you are hearing this, I hope you're well. I will be back soon. I know you'll push through. You're strong. Strong. Unlike me. I'm recording this transmission in hopes that someone, somewhere will pick it up and get me out of this war zone. I am Jason Falkland, and this is Siege Radio.
Siege Radio is a production of Harsh Gupta and Lance Talbert for Siege Radio Productions. We are an independent two-man team that produce storytelling podcasts which were made free forever. Want to help the show? Head on over to patreon.com/siegeradio. That is patreon.com/SIEGERADIO. Thanks.